call it?
The coin don't have no say. It's just you.
Well, I got here the same way the coin did.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 confusing movie endings explained.
But Tom has some serious problems that he's tried to bury down there, and I'm not about to just open my mind to someone like that.
For this list, we'll be attempting to explain various movie endings that left viewers frustrated and confounded. Naturally, this entails a lot of spoilers. What do you make of these endings? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10, No Country for Old Men. Adapted nearly word for word from Cormac McCarthy's novel No Country for Old Men, is basically an anti-thriller.
Well, look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything, call it.
It defies most of the genre's conventions. In the end, the hero fails to catch the bad guy and retires out of frustration. In the movie's iconic final scene, Bell recounts a dream he had to his wife.
How'd you sleep?
I don't know. Had dreams.
Well, you got time for 'em now. Anything interesting?
There always is to the party concerned.
To some, this was a frustratingly anticlimactic ending, but it's all in keeping with the story's themes. Bell can only find comfort in his dreams with a false impression of his long-dead father. His use of "then I woke up" seems to suggest that he realizes the falsity of the dream. For Bell, there is no comfort to be found in the cold and dark reality.
I knew that whenever I got there, he'd be there. Then I woke up.
Number 9, Enemy. Before he became famous for his sci-fi epics, Denis Villeneuve directed a Canadian drama called Enemy. In the movie's famous provocative ending, Adam goes to tell Helen that he's leaving, only to find a gigantic spider in her place.
Helen?
The spider cowers against the wall, and Adam sighs in disappointment. The spider is a symbol of Adam's commitment, or more accurately, his lack thereof. He's stuck in Helen's metaphorical webs, so he sees her as a creature that generates literal webs.
Are you lying to me? You're lying to me.
But even more important is the spider's reaction. It recoils in fear because Helen discovers the startling truth of Adam's infidelity.
I really don't know what you're talking about.
I think you know.
Adam realizes that he has hurt Helen and that he cannot commit, so he sighs in resigned defeat. Number 8, Life of Pi. This movie is based on Yann Martel's novel of the same name, which was the recipient of the esteemed Man Booker Prize for fiction.
And then Richard Parker, my fierce companion, the terrible one who kept me alive, disappeared forever from my life.
The ending is ripped straight from the novel, presenting two different scenarios. One scenario is what we saw with Pi and the animals. In the second and arguably more realistic scenario, the animals are replaced with humans.
So, the hyena is the cook, the sailor is the zebra, your mother is the orangutan, and you're the tiger.
The older Pi then asks the writer which story he prefers, and both he and the insurance agents like the animal version better. The movie isn't about which version is right, but how the viewer became enraptured by an imaginative story. It teaches us about the power of faith and believing in the improbable, even if a more realistic outcome is presented.
So which story do you prefer?
The one with the tiger.
Number 7, The King of Comedy. Martin Scorsese's The King of Comedy bears many similarities to Taxi Driver. One of the most obvious is the ambiguous and dreamlike ending.
He reported that he had been spending his time writing his memoirs, which had been purchased by a leading New York publishing house for in excess of $1 million.
Rupert is sent to prison following his crimes, but this isn't what we see. What we get instead is Rupert's big comeback as he writes a popular memoir and becomes a successful comedian.
Said he had used his stay at Allenwood to sharpen his material. He said that he and his people were weighing a number of attractive offers and that he looked forward to resuming his show business career.
Unfortunately, we don't know if this actually happened or not. However, it likely occurred in Rupert's head. Many clues have been brought forward that seem to suggest its fantastical nature. This includes Rupert's past daydreams throughout the movie, his prison-like suit, the curtain that looks like prison bars, and the bizarre way the announcer keeps repeating his introduction.
Rupert Pupkin, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Rupert Pupkin! Wonderful! Rupert Pupkin, ladies and gentlemen!
Rupert wants to be famous, and it cost him his freedom. Number 6. Tenet. Viewers need an evidence board and some strings to make sense of Tenet. Even for Christopher Nolan, this one is out there.
It's best to get to the nasty part before I care one way or the other.
We learned that Neil was actually recruited by a future version of the protagonist, so the protagonist in turn caused the events of the movie to transpire.
Hey, you never did tell me who recruited you, Neil.
Haven't you guessed by now? You did.
The protagonist then realizes that he began the Tenet organization, and he kills Priya before she can kill Kat. Essentially, the movie's events were preordained before they even began, as the protagonist set everything up and knew exactly what would happen. The protagonist was pulling the strings the entire time, and he didn't even know it. Darn time manipulation.
I told you you'd have to start looking differently at the world.
I have to tie up the loose ends.
That was never your job.
Then whose was it?
Mine. I realized I wasn't working for you. We've both been working for me.
Number 5. Donnie Darko. If this list is any indication, Jake Gyllenhaal loves him some confusing endings. Like Tenet, Donnie Darko deals with the manipulation of time.
Philosophy of time travel. What is this?
Donnie learns that he was supposed to die in the plane crash and that his survival has opened up an alternate timeline. This alternate universe is throwing the very space-time continuum off its axis, and the time loop needs to be closed in order to save the world.
And in order for the vessel to travel through time, it's got to find a porthole, or in this case, a wormhole, or...
Well, could these portals just appear anywhere, anytime?
I think that's highly unlikely.
And in order for it to be closed, Donnie has to die in the plane crash, so that's exactly what he does. Donnie travels back in time and sacrifices himself for the good of the universe, allowing himself to be crushed by the falling jet engine.
Did you know him?
No.
Number 4. Blade Runner. The ambiguity of Blade Runner is compounded by multiple factors.
All those moments will be lost in time.
For starters, like 8 million versions of the movie exist. There's also the fact that neither Harrison Ford nor Ridley Scott can agree on its meaning. Ford believes that Deckard is a human. However, Scott has said that Deckard is a replicant.
She doesn't know.
She's beginning to suspect, I think.
Suspect? How can it not know what it is?
That seems to be the end of the argument as Scott directed the film. This is made even more evident in the director's cut from 1992, which shows Deckard receiving a paper unicorn from Eduardo Gaff. While most of the evidence points to Deckard being a replicant, the ending continues to be debated to this day.
It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
Number 3. Mulholland Drive. People get headaches trying to figure out David Lynch. He's just one of those directors that places atmosphere and tone over straightforward storytelling.
I can see his face. I hope that I never see that face ever outside of a dream.
In the final act of Mulholland Drive, Lynch introduces the characters of Diane and Camilla, who are carbon copies of Betty and Rita. The leading theory is that most of Mulholland Drive takes place inside Diane's addled mind.
You sure you want this?
More than anything in this world.
She imagines a better life for herself, one in which she's happy and fresh-faced rather than washed up and jaded. In the real world, Diane hires a hitman to kill Camilla, and when this is done, she shoots herself out of grief. The end.
When it's finished, you'll find this where I told you.
Number 2. Inception. Christopher Nolan appears again, only this time the answer is a little more straightforward. For Inception, Nolan deals with the subjectivity of reality, and this theme is perfectly explored in the final seconds of the movie.
She had locked something away, something deep inside her. A truth that she had once known, but chose to forget.
Dom Cobb returns home to his children and spins the top to determine if he's dreaming or not. But when he catches a glimpse of his kids, he abandons the top and runs to them. We don't know if Cobb is dreaming or not, but that isn't the point. The point is that Cobb intentionally chooses to abandon his totem. Dream or not, Cobb is deciding what is real for him.
You're just a shade. You're just a shade of my real wife. And you were the best that I could do, but I'm sorry, you're just not good enough.
His reality is entirely subjective, and he's deciding to live in a reality with his children.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Everyone knows the ending to this film, even those who haven't actually seen it.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Bowman is pulled into some sort of interdimensional vortex, quickly turns into an old man, and then reaches for the monolith before transforming into a giant space fetus watching over Earth. It sounds like Stanley Kubrick directed this thing on acid, but there is some meaning behind it. The entire movie is about the evolution of humanity, and this ending explores that concept further. By interacting with the alien monolith, Bowman takes the next step in human evolution and is reborn as the Star Child. The Star Child is then sent back to Earth to help its citizens transcend and unlock the next great evolutionary step in their biology.
I am putting myself to the fullest possible use, which is all I think that any conscious entity can ever hope to do.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.